Robert Lind wants ready-made wisdom. He wants that let philosophers cultivate wisdom and let me just purchase it. Let me purchase a book and get some ready-made wisdom in the same way as I get vegetables, medicines, other things from market. And with this end in view, since his school days, he has been looking for some suitable books. And we have got in the last video that in his school days, whenever he got some break, he used to study books, and he has already studied some philosophers' books also, but he has not yet got any suitable book that can provide him with ready-made wisdom. Still he has the same faith that yes, somewhere there should be some book which I have not got yet, which will provide me with ready-made wisdom. And now when he found that in the hotel lounge two persons were speaking and one was telling the other that one Tommy has read Epictetus and he has become very excited. He has become fearfully excited after reading Epictetus. Our author Robert Lind thought that yes, that possibly is the right book, Epictetus' book. One point I should make it clear here that Epictetus did not write any book actually. All his teachings and his principles and his philosophies were incorporated in the form of a book by his pupils, and that book is named Enchiridion. So, Robert Lind, after overhearing two persons speaking about the impact of Epictetus on someone called Tommy, became himself very excited and he wanted to read the book of Epictetus so that he could get some ready-made wisdom. With this end in view, he picked up Epictetus and started studying. That is what we found in the first video. In today's video, the second video, we will see the result of reading of the book of Epictetus by Robert Lind. Let us see in the second paragraph. I read him, I confess, with considerable excitement. He is the kind of philosopher I like, not treating life as if at its finest it were an argument conducted in jargon, but discussing among other things how man should behave in the affairs of ordinary life. The author is saying that yes, I read Epictetus and I also read with a lot of excitement. And I loved him. I found him suitable. Why? Because in his teaching, in his philosophy, in his thoughts, Epictetus does not present life before others as if life is something very difficult. He does not consider life as an argument conducted in jargon. This phrase is very important. Argument conducted in jargon. What is this thing? An argument conducted in jargon. Jargon is possibly the new word for you. Jargon means technical terms, the words that common people do not know. Jargon are those words which are known to the experts in any field. For example, if two very great scholars of physics are talking, at that time they will use certain terms which common people may not be able to understand. For example, sodium chloride, they may say. Common people know the same thing with a different name. So, the same is the case with any other branch of study. In economics, for example, two scholars of economics are talking, they are using certain terms which are very familiar to them, but common people may not be able to understand them. Jargon means technical terms which are known to experts only. Our author says that Epictetus deals with life. If you study Epictetus, you will find that he considers life not as an argument conducted in jargon. It means Epictetus does not treat life as something very difficult. Rather, in his teaching, you will find that he talks about common man's problem, affairs of common men. That is why any common reader who reads Epictetus finds his writing to be very easily understandable, to be very interesting, because he does not use difficult terms the way scholars use difficult terms in their argument, which are not intelligible to ordinary people. That is not what Epictetus uses while talking about life. Epictetus presents life in a very simple way, in very easy terms which can be understood by any common man. And then our author said that also I agreed with nearly everything he said. Epictetus, in his writing, in his book, in his philosophy, he has discussed many things, and the author Robert Lind said, I also agree with him. What are those things? Indifference to pain, death, poverty. Yes, that is eminently desirable. Epictetus, in his writing, in his teaching, he has said that human beings, to live a happy life, they should be indifferent to pain, death, and poverty. These are three examples of certain things to which human beings should be indifferent. Pain, nowadays if you have pain, there is medical treatment, you can get rid of the pain by taking some painkiller or getting some treatment. There was a time when such ailments had no treatment, you have to suffer and suffer only. So, this is about that olden time, that if you are having some pain, there is no solution, you have to just endure it, you have to live with it. So, pain and death is another thing. When death comes, no one can avoid it, no one at all can avoid death, it is something inevitable. So, pain, death, and even poverty also, these are certain things where you cannot do anything, you have to live with it, you have to be indifferent to it, don't think a lot about it, don't be sad about it. That is what Epictetus tells, and our author said, yes, I also agree with him on these points. Not to be troubled about anything over which one has no control, whether the oppression of tyrants or the peril of earthquakes. On the necessity of this, Epictetus and I are one. Two more examples are given. If your country is ruled by a king, there is no democracy, you have no public opinion, you cannot vent your grievances. So, you have to just tolerate, you have to be patient. The king has ordered this thing, we are the common citizens, it is not a democracy, it is an autocracy, we have nothing to do. So, when some oppressors, some tyrants are ruling your country and they are creating oppression on you, or even if there is an earthquake coming, over these things human beings have no control, common people have no control. That is why you have to be indifferent to these things. When they will come, and whatever will happen, will happen. That is what you should have your attitude. You should not think a lot about it, you should not spoil your life thinking about all these things over which you have no control. When Epictetus said these things, our author said, yes, I also agree, I find his argument very reasonable. Yet, close as is the resemblance between our opinions, I could not help feeling as I read that Epictetus was wise in holding his opinions, and that I, though holding the same opinion, was far from wise. That is a very nice thing. In the forthcoming passages, you will find much humor is there. The author is here saying that yes, Epictetus and I are same. When I have read his book, I have found his opinion on life, his philosophy of life are very agreeable. He says that be indifferent to certain things over which you have no control. I find it okay, fine, I also agree. Although we are having the same opinion, still I find that in spite of having the same opinion by both of us, that Epictetus is wise in having this opinion, and I, in spite of having the same opinion, I am far from being wise. Why is it? The reason may be that for Epictetus, these opinions, these philosophies were his own, so he is quite comfortable with it. For our author or for any other human being, these opinions are not your own opinion, these are hired, these are just taken from others. So, here one grammatical aspect is there, that is, I could not help feeling, that is something very important, you should note it, this may be used very often. I could not help feeling, I could not help feeling. This may come to a transformation of sentences. After writing such a sentence, instruction will be there that replace help. You replace help. This means you have to write the sentence again, where you should not write help, you have to use some other word. What word? Replace help by but. So, when you write this the same sentence, I could not, in place of help you will write but. Then what? The moment you replace help with but, it means this feeling should not be used in this form. Feeling is now in present participle form, it should be in the base form. I could not but feel. I could not but feel, I could not help feeling. Here the word help is used in a grammatical sense. This does not mean the common meaning of the word help that we all know. Here I could not help feeling means I could not but feel. It means I had no other choice but to feel. I can give another example. I could not but go there. It means going there was not my choice. I had a compulsion. There was no other option for me. I had to go there. So I could not but go there. Instead of saying I could not but go there, you can say I could not help going there. I could not help going there means I could not but go there. So Robert Lind is saying I could not help feeling. It means I could not but feel. It means I had to feel. What is the feeling? That in spite of having the same opinion about life, about different issues of life, Epictetus and I are not same. We are same because we have the same opinion about different aspects of life. At the same time, we are not the same because Epictetus, in having these opinions, he seems to be wise, but I, in spite of having the same opinion, I don't seem to be wise. I find myself to be far away from being wise. That is very interesting. For indeed, what is this? Why is this said? Why the author says like this? For indeed, though I held the same opinions for purposes of theory, I could not entertain them for a moment for purposes of conduct. That is the thing. When there is something original in you, you can use it for theory as well as for practice. Here our author Robert Lind said that we held the same opinion, we hold the same opinion. In spite of that, Epictetus seems to be wise, I am not wise. Why? Because I find that in theory only I find Epictetus' opinions to be right. But when it comes to practice, I find that no, I cannot be happy, I cannot be comfortable with it. That is the difficulty with common man. That is what happens if you are not a philosopher. Common people, they very nicely deliver lectures and they tell other people, if someone slaps on one cheek, offer him another cheek. Yes, you can quote it. That is how someone said, and that is what it is an example of patience. You should be patient. You should not react. You should, if anyone attacks you, you should be cool. Yes, nice philosophy. But if someone asks you, yes, can you practice it? Then you will find it's difficult to practice. That is what the common man's life is about. Our author is saying that Epictetus and I hold the same opinion. Still, he seems to be wise. I am not wise because I am happy with his opinion. I agree to his opinion only so far as the theory is concerned. The moment it comes to practicing those philosophy, I find that that is not my cup of tea. Because he said, death, pain and poverty, these three things, we earlier got it. Epictetus said, be indifferent to these things, don't think a lot about it. What will happen if I fall in pain? What will happen when I will die? You have nothing to do with these things, just be indifferent to it, ignore such things. The author said, yes, in theory I can ignore. Death, pain and poverty are to me very real evils, except when I am in an armchair reading a book by a philosopher. For Epictetus, he can be indifferent to these things at any point of life. But so far as I am concerned, I can just be familiar, I can be comfortable with these philosophies only when I am sitting in an armchair and lecturing before people. Yes, be indifferent to death. In someone's family, someone has died. So you say, don't cry. Why should you be crying? It is something God's choice. You have no control. You can see it easily. But when it comes to you, someone at your home has died, someone very close to you has died, then you behave, you repent, and you just start crying and shedding tears. All your philosophy has failed here. So the author said that death, pain and poverty to me are real evils. They are something I cannot avoid. They are something I cannot be indifferent to. Epictetus can, I cannot. That is what the difference between a philosopher and a common man. A common man may find philosophers' arguments, his teachings, his statements are very attractive, very nice to quote, very nice to lecture on, but practicing them is difficult. As long as I am in an armchair reading a book of a philosopher, I find Epictetus' theories are very nice, but when it comes to practice, I find it is not my cup of tea. If an earthquake happened while I was reading a book of philosophy, I should forget the book of philosophy and think only of the earthquake and how to avoid tumbling walls and chimneys. Yes, this is what a common man does. If I am sitting in an armchair reading a book of philosophy, I find it's quite all nice. But when At that moment, if an earthquake comes, I cannot say a word earthquake, you have no control over it, ignore it, no. I will just at that time leave the book, I will start running, I will start saving myself from, I will think of saving myself from crumbling walls. This, though I am the staunchest possible admirer of Socrates, Pliny and people of that sort. Sound though I am as an armchair philosopher, as a crisis I find that both the spirit and the flesh are weak. As an armchair philosopher, as long as I am sitting in my comfort zone, I am just lecturing, I find philosophers' views are good, they are nice, they are acceptable. But in a crisis, in a practical situation, I find that my spirit and flesh are both weak. Neither physically nor mentally I am able to tackle them. I really feel very nervous. I lose my strength. That is how the author has very nicely differentiated the attitude, the response and reaction of an individual in a particular situation, in a tough situation, how an ordinary man's reaction and his response and his ability to tackle a situation is different from that of a philosopher. Coming to the next paragraph, even in the small things of life, I cannot comfort myself like a philosopher of the school of Epictetus. The author said, not to talk about earthquake or death, these are very big issues. Even if we talk about small things of life, for example, eating food, here also I cannot act like a philosopher. In theory, I can appreciate him, but in practice, I cannot be like him. Even in small things of life, I cannot comfort myself like a philosopher of the school of Epictetus. Thus, when he advises us how to eat acceptably to the gods, these words are within inverted commas. It means these words are not Robert Lin's words, these words are from Epictetus. Eat acceptably to the gods. Eat acceptably to the gods. What does this mean? This means that you eat in such a way that your eating, with the way you eat, God becomes pleased with you. That yes, my servant is eating, I have provided him food, it is my power that has enabled him life, and he is eating in such a way that I am happy with him. What can you do? In all religions also, when you start taking food, you have to praise the Lord for providing you food. After eating, you again have to praise him. You have to start with the name of God. You have to sit in a particular situation way, in a particular pose. These are certain requirements. In every religion, such things are there. So, eating acceptably to the gods means eating in such a way that God becomes pleased with you. He accepts your way of eating. The author said, not to talk about earthquake and death, etc. In those things, I have already mentioned that I cannot act like a philosopher, although in theory I can agree with him. Even if you talk about small things, everyday activities of life, like eating food also, here the author said that when Epictetus advises me in his book, he tells people that you should eat acceptably to the gods. People should eat in such a way that God becomes happy with his way of eating, and bids us to this end to be patient and even under the most atrocious service at our meals. He commends a spiritual attitude of which my nature is incapable. Epictetus said, eat acceptably to the God. What does it mean? That when you are eating food, if you are, for example, you are taking food in a hotel or in a restaurant and you are not provided the right thing, you have ordered one thing, the wrong thing has come, don't be angry, don't shout at the boy. Cool, have patience, sabr. This is what Epictetus says. If you do it in this way, if you be patient, if you don't shout, if you don't be angry with the boy in the hotel, then you are eating acceptably to the gods. Our author said, when Epictetus tells us this thing, then he is suggesting a kind of attitude which I am not capable of having. What he suggests? He suggests that you should not show your temper, you should control your temper. Even if the wrong thing comes to you, you order one thing and the boy brings another thing, don't lose your temper, be patient. The author said, no, I cannot have this kind of attitude. He comments a spiritual attitude of which my nature is incapable. When you have asked for warm water, these are again quotation from Epictetus. Epictetus in his book Enchiridion, although he did not write the book, but his teachings are incorporated there. So from this book it is quoted. When you have asked for warm water and the slave does not heed you, or if he does heed, you, but brings tepid water, or if he is not even to be found in the house, then to refrain from anger and not to explode, is not this acceptable to the gods? Yes, Epictetus has given here an example of how to eat acceptably to the gods. If in a restaurant or even at your home also, you order one thing, and then what happens that you are not provided the thing at the right time, you are just waiting. If you go to a hotel, to any sweets shop also, you say yes, bring kalagan or bring rasagulla, then you are waiting and then they are not getting it, you will really become angry. You will say, what happened to you? I have told you many times. You will attempt to leave the hotel. You will tell the man in the counter that your employees are not sincere, they don't give value to the customer. This is how you will explode. Epictetus said, if in a hotel, in a restaurant, when you order a thing, you find that the boy has not responded well, he is not paying heed to you, he is not responding, or even if he responds, he brings the wrong thing. You ask for warm water, he gives you cold water, or even the boy is not found anywhere, you are looking for him, but he is not seen. You are not to explode, you are not to show your anger. And Epictetus said, if you can behave in this way, then you are eating acceptably to the gods. And our author said, no, Baba, I don't have this much of patience, I cannot be like this. And that is where philosophers and common people are different. Epictetus is again telling us why we should have patience, why we should not show our anger, why we should not lose our temper. Epictetus is giving some more logic. He says, do you not remember over whom you rule, that they are kinsmen, that they are brothers by nature, and they are the offspring of Zeus? Epictetus said, yes, don't be angry with the boy in the hotel for not responding to you properly. Because the boy whom you are shouting, he is also your brother, he is also your kinsman, he is also your fellow human being. He is the children of Zeus. Zeus is supposed to be the supreme god in the Greek in the Greek way of life. In Greece, they have many gods and goddesses, and the chief of them is Zeus. So this is also a creation of Zeus. He is also a servant of Zeus. He is also a child of Zeus. So Epictetus said, if you be angry with the hotel boy, if you shout at him, if you scold him, you are being angry with your own brother or your own fellow human being. You are being angry with the child of Zeus. That is what his philosophy is. And Robert Lane said, that is perfectly true. And I should love to be able to sit in a restaurant smiling patiently and philosophically while the waiter brought all the wrong things or forgot to bring anything at all. Yes, if I follow Epictetus, then the author said, yes, his logic is good, and if I follow him, then I have to be smiling and waiting patiently until I get the thing, and even if wrong things are given to me, I should not react. Then the author said, but in point of fact, bad waiting irritates me. But the author said, Epictetus' philosophy are good, I agree in theory, but in practice, bad waiting irritates me. I dislike having to ask 3 times for the wine list. I am annoyed when after a quarter of an hour's delay, I am told that there is no celery. Celery means salad or the raw vegetables that is eaten raw. It is true that I do not make a sin on such occasions. When I do not get things after waiting for 15 minutes, if I get the wrong thing or I do not get the thing properly, I really become angry. Although in such situations, I usually do not make a sin. I do not create a sin, I do not shout, I do not explode. That is true, but he said that I have not enough courage for that. Showing your anger or shouting, that much courage I do not have. In that case, I am like a philosopher. Philosophers also do not show their anger. I also do not show my anger, but it is intolerable for me. I am as sparing of objurgations. Objurgation means harsh criticism. I am as sparing of objurgation. It means I am sparing of objurgation means I do not objurgate, I do not criticize. Usually I do not criticize, I dislike criticizing, and in that sense again I am like a philosopher. But I suspect that the scowling means angry spirit within me must somehow show itself in my features. Yes, when I am not given the right thing in the hotel after waiting for a long time, I do not show my anger, I do not create a scene, I do not have the courage to do it. This is how I am similar to a philosopher. But I am different from a philosopher in the sense that the scowling spirit in me, the angry spirit in me somehow shows it. I may not be angry with the boy, I may not shout at him, but somewhere I will react. That will show my anger. My anger is suppressed. I cannot explode, but I have it in me. That is how I am different from a philosopher. I cannot take such things very easily, very comfortably. Still, philosophers can. Suddenly, I do not think of telling myself, this waiter is my kinsman, he is the offspring of Zeus. The way Epictetus is saying that don't shout at the boy and think he is your kinsman, he is your fellow brother, he is the offspring of Zeus. I cannot comfort myself, I cannot console myself with these words when I have to be waiting and waiting in a restaurant. I cannot comfort myself with these words. And again, he is putting a counter question to the philosophy of Epictetus. He is saying that besides, even if this hotel boy is a offspring of Zeus, the way Epictetus is saying, my question now is, why offspring of Zeus? Even if he were, why should the offspring of Zeus wait so badly? I am also an offspring of Zeus in the same way as he is. If scolding him will be bad, then why should another offspring of Zeus, me, myself, why should I be made to wait? Isn't it injustice to another child of Zeus, another servant of Zeus? I should consider that yes, he is my kinsman, he is an offspring of Zeus. The same is the case with me also. Why should I be made to wait? Is it justice? Is it acceptable? That is what he argues. Besides, even if he were, why should the offspring of Zeus wait so badly? Epictetus, I am sure, never dined at the restaurant. That is something very humorous. The author said Epictetus is giving such opinion, be patient, don't show your anger, don't scold at the hotel boy. All this because he does not have the experience of eating in a restaurant, and yet his patience might have served him even then. And I agree, okay, even if he had taken some meal in a restaurant, maybe he would have behaved as like a philosopher, the way he is teaching us. He might have been able to behave in a very cool and comfortable manner, not the way I might behave. If so, what a difference between Epictetus and me. And if I cannot achieve this imperturbability, his imperturbability in such small affairs as that, what hope is there of being able to play the philosopher in the presence of tyrants and earthquakes, in small things of life? Just if you take the example of eating in a restaurant, if I cannot behave like a philosopher, if I cannot have the patience a philosopher wants us to have, I may not be able to create a sin, but inside me I will be feeling angry. It means that I cannot console myself saying like Epictetus that yes, this boy is my kinsman, I should not shout at him. I will rather create another argument that I am also an offspring of philosopher, why should I be made to wait? So if this is how I am, if I cannot console myself, if I cannot feel comfortable when there is a delay in service in a hotel, in such small things, if I cannot act like a philosopher, how can I behave like a philosopher on the face of an earthquake or on the face of a tyrant? So that is a big question. In the coming chapters, in the coming paragraphs, you will find more interesting things where the author makes a very clear difference between an ordinary man and a philosopher. How it is difficult to act like a philosopher, but saying yes or agreeing to philosophers' theories are very easy, but practicing them is really difficult. Some more examples we will find in the next passages, and this we will discuss in the next video. Thank you very much.